Winning the overall championship isn't the only prize up for grabs in Mini Challenge. There's also the coveted Best of British Awards. One of the sponsors of that is DNA Tuning, and from DNA Tuning I've got John with me now. You're heavily involved in Mini Challenge anyway. Just tell us a little bit about what the company does. What do you do?
We offer a standardised map for the series to bring the cars closer together so they can actually race a lot closer, and also look after the diagnostics throughout the grid and any issues any of the teams might have.
Yeah.
We tune the cars at the start of the season, then throughout the season we're constantly monitoring all the cars, try and keep it as level as we can.
And finally, why is it so important to be part of the Best of British Award?
Well, obviously with the £15,000 prize, it's a really good opportunity for the drivers, and it gives us a chance to help a driver move on into the formats.
It's a reverse of the top 7 for this grid, which means the slower cars are brought forward. That means that in pole position for the Cooper class is Simon Walton, and for the JCWs it is Mr. Patrick Mortimer. For the last time this weekend, let's go racing.
So it's Patrick the Raymeister Mortimer who lines up in pole position on, unfortunately for him, an all-dry grid. He shares the front row with Henry Dupree. Row 2 is Chris Russell and Neil Newstead ahead of Chris Smith and Lawrence Davey, with Chris Knox starting in 7th. Simon Walton then takes pole in the Cooper class alongside the very rapid Matt Hammond, and then it's Gideon Cresswell and Josh Gollin. We are surely set for a 5 finale here to the Mini Festival, and the 4th and final race of the weekend. The Power Max Mini Challenge gets underway. The pack sprint towards Paddock Hill Bend. Once more in car Lawrence Davey up behind Neil Newstead, and contact is made. Davey slithers sideways as the rest of them all just about squeezing through. Not too much drama as it is Chris Russell who leads the way up the hill towards Druids for the first time. Josh Gollin and Matt Hammond sharing the lead in the Cooper class. Henry Dupree has slipped down to 3rd. He's got Lawrence Davey to the inside. Very, very close between the pair of them as Davey then runs out over the rumble strip. That means that he is passed by Chris Knox. In the lead of the race though, Chris Russell and Neil Newstead trying to make their escape. Oh, but Newstead spins the car around and is stranded in the track, just avoided by those around him. And Neil Newstead recovers a long, long way down the Packers. Lawrence Davey darts into the pit lane. And all weekend the driver's been caught out a little bit by the fact that it is very cold here at Brands Hatch. Don't be deceived by the sunny weather. The track temperature really quite low. Therefore, we've seen the drivers taking rather more laps than they anticipated to get their Pirelli tyres up to temperature. Chris Smith, meanwhile, under the pressure on to Patrick Mortimer. That is for 5th position. Hamish Brandon just ahead of them. And then Chris Knox with Henry Dupree around Graham Hill Bend on the Cooper Straight. This is a good start to the race though for Chris Russell. He has got a nice 10 or so car length advantage over Henry Dupree. And what he would really like here is Dupree to hold off the efforts of Chris Knox, but Dupree runs a little bit wide through clearways, and that is a gilt-edged opportunity for Chris Knox as Dupree then covers across quite late in the day to chop across Knox's bows. That means that Chris will have to think about where he's going to challenge, and the answer is up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend, loops over the curb onto 2 wheels momentarily, and he now sets off in pursuit of Chris Russell. Let's see if Henry Dupree though can maintain that 3rd place. He's got Hamish Brandon and Chris Smith setting about chasing him down. Meanwhile, Lawrence Davey out of the pits, and he's right in the mix for leading the Cooper class as Josh Gollin darts to the inside of William Phillips. They've also got Gideon Cresswell and Matt Hammond as part of this leading quartet in the Cooper class. Been a fantastic weekend this from William Phillips. The driver, there he is in the white and black machine. He's really been mixing it in amongst the front runners in the Cooper class. Will he end the weekend with a victory? At the moment he's got Josh Gollin to overhaul, but again Gollin leaves a car's width to the inside into clearways, and that is all the invitation that William Phillips needs as they then accelerate out of clearways through Clark Curve on around the straight. Now Gideon Cresswell in the silver and black car is well positioned here. He can take the double slipstream instead. He makes it through one into Paddock Hill Bend, and they're squeezing themselves, and Cresswell gets fired off into the gravel trap at Paddock Hill Bend, and he was trying to squeeze Josh Gollin. There was nowhere for Gollin to go. Cresswell should recover. I think he's going to remain in the beach, but any hopes of a podium finish have all but disappeared. William Phillips and Josh Gollin continue as if nothing happened. They've been joined by Matt Hammond and Shane Stoney, just in case they're a little bit lonely. As Phillips now jinks through, takes the lead into Surtees. The key is, can he get the car stopped, squared off around Clearways with enough momentum to maintain the lead into Paddock Hill Bend. Well, he had a little bobble through Clearways, and that is going to give Gollin the opportunity to follow in his slipstream, take advantage of the tow. Four of them as one, hugging the pit wall, then crest into the braking zone for Paddock Hill Bend before the road just plummets away to the right-hand side. No change in that leading group, but they're as close as you like, probably 5 car lengths covering the 4 cars, as Shane Stoney looks to challenge Matt Hammond to the inside into Druids and just about squeezes through. It's a nice move there from Shane Stoney. Ricky Page now making it a 5-way scrap in the Cooper class as he looks to follow in pursuit as well as around Graham Hill Bend and along the Cooper Straight. William Phillips leading this queue. And if Phillips is able to break clear, that will be a remarkable performance, because it's often said in the mini challenge, in a group like this, the last place you want to be going to the final lap is first, because it leaves you vulnerable to attack from all sides. Phillips instead is sitting about just trying to ease clear, 10th of a second upon 10th of a second, lap upon lap. Looking to the inside line and riding the curb, gaining the place. Josh Gollin just ahead of Shane Stoney, while Chris Russell has been passed by Chris Knox ahead of the field. Russell, though, staying with Knox, and then it's Chris Smith who's moved up into 3rd place ahead of Henry Dupree and Hamish Brandon. They've got Luke Cordell, who else, closing on their tail. And Cordell looking to make amends for that uncharacteristic error that saw him pitched out of the penultimate race of the weekend. Well, William Phillips has absolutely checked out here, which is exactly what he wants to do. We've still got these 4 cars fighting hammer and tongs for 2nd position in the Cooper class, and they're about to be swamped by the battle for the lead of the race overall. It's going to be quite hard for Chris Knox to find a way through this lot if they're 3 wide into Paddock Hill Bend. I don't think it's going to be a concern this time around for Knox, but certainly on the next occasion he can find himself very much in the thick of the action. So they all swoop downhill. There's just a little bit sideways possibly there from Josh Gollin. Gives Ricky Page the opportunity to roar alongside as they come up out of Paddock Hill Bend into Druids, out over the curbs from Ricky Page. And now here comes Chris Knox, who jinks the inside of Matt Hammond. That's one of the Cooper class cars disposed of. The other 3 are making that impossible target, almost 3 wide into Surtees, and Chris Knox doesn't know where to go. It's going to give Chris Russell a golden chance to possibly challenge for the lead of the race. At the same time, if Russell goes for a move over Cooks, he's going to end up skittling a good number of Cooper class runners. Now Knox sees the opening to the inside along the Bramham Straight, but he's not been seen by Josh Gollin. Now he has, so Knox and Russell dart through to the inside. Lawrence Davies, recovery drive continuing as he is able to successfully squeeze his way past Patrick Mortimer, as Chris Knox has been finally, in the late stage of the race, able to shake off Chris Russell. There's Russell, he's about 2 seconds back, but that is going to be a near impossible task to make up, because through Clearways for the final time to cap what has been an emphatic weekend here at the Mini Festival for Chris Knox. He accelerates through to take yet another victory in the 2014 Power Max Mini Challenge. So it's Knox for the win, with Russell in 2nd place and Chris Smith through to complete the podium. In the Cooper class, William Phillips crowns a weekend of feisty and fast performances with a win, and he is absolutely overjoyed with that, receiving the applause of the crowd as he finished ahead of the group behind. So Chris Knox taking the win from Chris Russell, and Chris Smith helps him call Chris to be on the podium. Luke Cordell up to 4th. In the Cooper class, it was William Phillips who won it from Ricky Page and Josh Gollin. Shane Stoney rather shuffled out of that group to finish down in 6th place. Well, the models on to the rostrum. It's time for the drivers to savour the glamour of the Power Max Mini Challenge and the Mini Festival. The final trip to the podium in the 2014 running of the Mini Festival, and therefore the opportunity to let rip with the champagne. William Phillips and Chris Knox celebrating on the top step of the podium. The pair of them have had a very fine weekend's racing. So as the Grid Girls make their escape, it's time to celebrate for the final time.
It's been such an up and down weekend. I mean, we've struggled on power through testing and Saturday, and then getting second but having it taken off of me. It's been an up and down weekend, and a lovable one at that. I'm just so happy that I've shown myself as a driver, and I've got up to where every driver wants to be first.
Yeah, some fantastic racing. I've had a particularly good weekend racing Mr. Stoney. Some great overtaking, all clean racing. Fantastic. Couldn't ask for much more. Apart a standard chairlift would be nice, but that's my only complaint.
I got a reasonable start, made up a few places, and a bit of luck coming out of Graham Hill Bend sort of gave me a couple of positions, but again, I sort of catching the other Chris, and he made it quite easy for me to overtake.
I'm not one of the quickest drivers out there. I don't have a lot of race experience, so the reverse grid helps me because I start front, and if I can start at the front, I can stay out at the front. I'm not so great at overtaking, so yeah, the reverse grid helps quite a lot today. It's good fun.
Yeah.
So championship standings, and it's Chris Knox who leads the way amongst the JCW runners from Luke Cordell and Lawrence Davey in third. Very tight battle though for the championship forming. In the Cooper class, Shane Stoney has pulled a healthy advantage over Josh Gollin, who is just 1 point clear of Ricky Page, with Gideon Cresswell on his tail.
Congratulations to our Sunoco drivers of the day. For the JCWs, it is Chris Knox, and for the Cooper class, it is William Phillips. It has certainly been a full and fantastic weekend of racing here at Brands Hatch. Plenty of fast and furious battles, which is what we love about this championship. There's going to be another mini festival a little bit later on in the season, but before that, the Power Max Mini Challenge rolls into Snetterton, so I hope you can join us for that. In the meantime, remember, you can find out more, get involved, keep up to date with what's going on our Facebook page and Twitter. But for now, from Brands Hatch, it's goodbye.